People, welcome to Never a Foul. If you've never been here before, now you know, because today you're joining your weekly show with Mr. Potts, Mr. Joe, and this time Daps, who you won't really see feature regularly, but it's Bank Holiday Monday. It's nice
on
to
this
see
show you won't.
Yeah, it's 200 of you in the building as well, already nice and early. So make sure you smash the like as you hear me ask, if you don't mind. We're going to be talking about the weekend. We're going to be talking about on Arsenal, bit of City, bit of Man United, bit of everything, and obviously the main talk of the town at the moment, which is Liverpool. Not so much transfers, couldn't give a crap about them. It's boring.
I need to talk about these left-back choices that Man United are in for, mind. Wow.
I don't mind.
Do you know what?
Wow.
Hold on. Can I just say, I'm honoured to be on this show because this is one of the shows, Monday to Friday. I can't do the daytime shows because of my day job, but I do usually watch them. Anyone watching me from work, I don't watch them. I listen to them, but I'm involved, yeah. And this is a show that I'm like, I wish I could get involved in that because, like, I rate the panel and I rate the conversations, a bit less shameless. So, and Joe, you've come in straight away and called out something. We do need to talk on it, 100%.
Do you know what though? When I seen the links yesterday, I think I was doing one of the games on my channel, and Cash, you came straight to my mind because I know how you felt about Mount, and then I was thinking Cucurella, all these other names. I forget. So, there was some bad names anyway. I mean, you've been linked to Luke Thomas as well, right?
Oh, I'm taking that.
And we're apparently getting him on loan, but I was like, bloody hell, like, how's that even link come up? So it's a madness.
Today it's Regulon, and I heard Ryan Bertrand. Ryan Bertrand was the best.
Listen, that's the one I'm for. That's the one I'm for. Harry, what is it, Cass? Harry, Johnny, and Ryan at the back for Man United. That is sensational. I need to see it.
Anyways, if we're going to go off anything, I'm going to believe what Fabrizio says. We're in discussion with Chelsea. They just want a loan fee for it, and we cover the wages, which I think is more than fair. Easy. I like Cucurella as a profile, personally. Do I think he's going to be special if he can find form like he did at Brighton? Yeah, I know. Yes, I think I'd like the profile. It means Harry Maguire goes to 6th choice centre-back because Luke Shaw will be the cover centre-back for Lissandro, and then you've got Cucurella that does the job clearly. I don't mind it as an inverted.
He can also cover as well. He can cover at centre-back as well, can't he?
In a back three, not in a back four.
Yeah.
Why would Man United why would Chelsea give Man United Cucurella when they've sold Lewis Hall and they've only got Chilwell, who's always injured?
Pochettino likes Maatsen and Chilwell. And they've got one
game.
Maatsen
was at Burnley, weren't he? He's come on in the last 2 games as Maatsen as well, so...
Yeah, so I look at it like that. For me personally, I don't mind the profile. Does he mean he's going to be amazing at United if he can find that form? I like to talk on it briefly, is because everyone at Chelsea were crap. Yeah, they were all awful. They were all as bad as one another, right? Except for a couple. You could say Thiago Silva was okay, but the rest of them got rinsed to bits. And you can easily write anything upon any of them, but it's only 1 year. It's not like Kai Havertz or Mason Mount, who's been there for 3 years. Even though Mason Mount didn't really sniff much game time, but at the same time, he still weren't great. It's only 1 year, and then, look at Basuma at Tottenham. He was crap for last year, but all of a sudden,
I agree with you on that.
New signing. So I'm willing to give it a chance.
Look at Sterling. Sterling's a perfect example. Sterling before he joined Chelsea was at City. All right, his last season at City wasn't as good as maybe his previous, but it still wasn't shocking. It still wasn't bad. This season, look at him. So I agree with you. We can't. I don't think any player can have. Look at Nunes. In fact, to be fair, Nunes didn't hit the ground running at Liverpool. Now he's looking better. So I don't think you can downplay. I think out of the 3 I've seen, Cucurella for me is
the best option.
Is the best option. Yeah, 100% is.
Yeah, I think I see something about Rico Henry, but there is no chance we're getting Rico Henry.
I know quality, man. I really like Rico Henry.
I like Rico Henry.
As a wing back, as a fullback for me, no, not for me. I don't think he's defensively sound. He's got a good engine. I think he gets up the pitch like a flying winger a little bit. Good on him.
How long is Shaw out for then, Kaz?
This is what
Not really sure.
Like it.
They're saying 5 to 8 weeks. So now,
oh wow,
maybe 1 week less potentially, but I don't care.
A lot of years want him gone anyway, don't you? Every time I hear it's Shaw, this Shaw.
I've had enough. I personally had enough. I can't stand these injuries. I can't stand one good season, one bad season, one good injury, then one bad injury. I want him gone. Personally, I think he's a big part of. I look at that Man United back four, and I know we'll talk about it a bit later, but I look at the back four, and there's some players that I'm just tired of seeing the same faces now. Tired of seeing Shaw's face there. It's the same problems. I'm tired of seeing Delo there. I think he's just garbage anyways. I think he's going to build up, to be fair, and I think he's suited to what we want to do. So I'd rather keep him now in that situation.
Do you know the injuries thing? I felt like this. I think it was probably 3 seasons ago, start of 3 seasons ago. In fact, the season that John Stones ended up having a sensational season alongside Ruben Diaz. And me and Ty were having a conversation, and we were comparing Stones and Bailly for you lot, right? Because Ty was trying to sing Bailly's praises, saying how good Bailly is. And I was saying, but the injuries, bro, it gets to a point where when a player can't keep fit, and especially when they're little niggly ones, it's frustrating because what you don't realize is it's throwing out any consistency with the back four. If one player that is one of your better players which John Stones always has been, keeps getting little niggling injuries, it allows no consistency to build in. And I was saying the same way you're saying about Bailly, I'm saying the same about John Stones. I need to see consistency because I'm sick of injuries and in and out, in and out. Luckily with John Stones, he came through that. But I do get what you're saying, that these constant changes in defence, you don't realise how much that can hinder a defence because they don't get the fluidity, the unity, the reading, knowing when everyone's pressing, moving the line up and whatever else. So I do get what you're saying, but I don't think you want to move on Luke Shaw just yet, do you?
Yeah, I would. If I'm looking at the construction of Man United, and again, we'll talk about the game later, just to get it out of the way. I look at a new centre-back and I look at fullbacks for next year as the priority targets. If you go get Amrabat this year, I think you're okay. I think you can look at a centre mid as well, potentially as well, in case Scott McTominay, Van der Beek, you need a space there. I look at the forward line, striker, I think that might get solved. Again, we'll see what goes on with Højlund. You might not need an amazing striker to fill that position, but I think fullbacks and centre-back is a major issue for Man United. There's an Ornstein thing, because someone told me...
Have you seen it? Yeah, so I'll read out. So Matheus Nunes has stopped training with Wolves and expressed he wishes to join Man City. Wolves rejected 55 million and City planned to place another bid. I actually saw this morning that I think we were about to place a 60 million bid. But yeah, so ultimately what he's saying is that Nunes has stopped training and said, nah. So I don't know if Wolves have maybe said to him, we don't plan on selling you. And he said, cool, well, I'm going on strike then. So
there you go.
Let's see.
But anyways, let's talk on the main, games. One yesterday, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. Decent game. I think he got ruined by the red card anyways. I think you're not going to really see a great game between two teams when you're 10 men. What did you guys make of it, Joe?
Yeah, I'll probably get cooked for this, but I was fuming with the red card. I didn't even feel like it was a red card. I know goal scoring opportunity and all that, but there was Liverpool defenders in line, but it did ruin it as a spectacle. But listen,
or did it?
Yeah, I suppose if you're a Liverpool fan, I think the big thing in that's maybe going missed is that save from Alisson. I think a lot of people, rightly so, are going to be talking about Nunes' cameo, but there was one moment where Almiron's in the box and he has a strike, and the save from Alisson was phenomenal, man, to keep them in the game. And I think, because if that goes in, it's 2-0, Newcastle probably win the game. I do think Liverpool and the media getting carried away. Like Klopp's talking about it being bigger than the 3-0, Barcelona. I'm like, hang on a minute, it's not that big. Like, but I think what it, yeah, it was some of the takes
saying there. That was mad.
But I think some people are getting carried away with it. Even like the Nunes thing, it's a big chance for him to kick on now. I mean, he might start next game and be pants. There's a long way to go yet, but I do think what it has done has shown that Liverpool is still here, I think, and that Newcastle have a long way to go. Because Newcastle the week before weren't great against City. They're then at home, 1-0 up, 10 men, and maybe it's a mentality thing, they should be seeing that game out for sure. And, Liverpool getting back and getting 3 points. There's a mental thing there now as well, because it's like, I think Liverpool were one of the only few teams to get 3 points at St. James's last season. So then that starts to get stuck in here. So it's about getting past that. So I think it shows Newcastle have a long way to go, because I think after the 4-5-1, Villa were all going, Newcastle might challenge. Then they've played City and Liverpool and been beaten in both games. So there's a long way to go. Newcastle will be up there for sure. But if Liverpool can maybe get some more acquisitions between now and Friday, you just never know that they might be the ones to push City the furthest. So I enjoyed the game, but I do think it'd have been better if, you know, it was 11v11. But yeah, some great finishes by Núñez, by the way. They were unreal. It's like when he doesn't have time to think, he's able to do it. But when he's got time to think...
Sterling. It's Raheem.
Yeah,
there's a lot of strikers like this, you know. When Raheem Sterling, whenever he was through 1-on-1 with a keeper, I almost was like, he ain't scoring this because he's...
Giroud was like it as well, man. Giroud was like it with us. Like, go 1-on-1, you're like, he's going to miss. He's going to miss.
You know what it
like,
is?
Instinct, headers, lot, but at the near post, anything you don't have to think, goal, 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 goal.
Yeah.
It's
Same
mad,
with Sterling. It's like with Sterling, you could literally get in his mind and see that he's got like 3 options there. One is shoot, one is take it round the keeper, and one is pass. And you could see he's thinking, oh, I don't know what. And then usually what would end up would be like a kind of shot pass while he's trying to take it round the keeper, and he'd fall over the ball, and it would just be like, oh. But then you see Raheem, like when I even said the other day, when Raheem shoots with his wrong foot, sometimes it's better than with his right foot, because you're not so much thinking with your wrong foot, because with your right foot, you really can control it. With your wrong foot, it's a little more difficult, and he just lets it go. But I think you're right with it. I think the thing I'm looking at Newcastle with at the moment is, if I look at the Liverpool game, if I look at the City game, and then if I go back to last season and when they got through to that final, right? And all of a sudden their form dropped when they got through to the final, right? It's like it was taken up, though it was a bit of pressure on them, right? They weren't playing with the freedom. All of a sudden they were thinking about it. And then in the final, maybe some might say they didn't turn up. And I think at the moment, that's where they are, that they need to get over this pressure barrier. Like that is where Newcastle are. And look, with Liverpool, I think the second half performance showed a lot of fight, a lot of composure from Trent in particular to not commit another foul.
Trent can get that bit. Other than that goal, it's just that was horrendous to give away. And also from Klopp as well, probably at halftime telling the players, you know, don't panic. Just, this is the game plan. Stick to the game plan. And I've got to give them credit for that. It does remind us, ultimately, look, Liverpool's front three, front five, if you include in their attacking midfielders, front 7. I don't think any of us doubt that. But I'm still looking at that game and thinking Liverpool defensively are not it, right? And this is it. Look, people can get carried away and say Liverpool are back. Look, if Liverpool go out and get another centre-back and maybe another DM, I'll hear it. But without that, I'm not hearing that they're involved in the title race. I'm sorry. Going forward, we learned nothing we didn't already know, but we still saw the issues they've got at the back. So I don't really think we've learned that much.
Listen, I'm 100% with you, Daps. There is sweet FA I learned from yesterday. I learned that Alisson can make world-class saves and keep Liverpool in it. I learned that Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend and gets roasted by players like Anthony Gordon. I learned that Liverpool need a holding midfielder and a centre-back, which I've known for the last 18 months to 2 years. But they'll always have a chance because they can score goals. As for Newcastle, I was quite disappointed with them, actually. I thought when they went 1-0 up and it went to 10 men, I thought they could absolutely annihilate them now. They never looked like they're getting out of first gear. Manchester City is laughing at the moment, aren't they? Because there's nobody around them that looks anywhere near it. Like, for me, I was really hoping we'll come into Arsenal in a minute that we'd be right up there, but I've not been convinced. Man United look a mess. Chelsea ain't ready yet. Liverpool can't defend. Man City are just laughing. Like, this could be 15 points winning the title at this rate. Now, I'm hoping that won't be the case. But yesterday's result learned nothing to me, man. And I love Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a quality footballer. But playing him at right back with Matip and Gomez is, for me, not going to win you a title. Or even Van Dijk, if I'm honest with you. So they need to sort that out in the transfer market in the coming days if they want to go for a title challenge. Because for me, defensively, it just ain't going to happen for Liverpool, in my opinion.
Robertson's massively fell off as well, hasn't he? Really, if we're being honest, he's not the same.
He ain't got the legs no more, man.
No, he hasn't, man.
Strides have gone a little bit worse, and everything else. See, the thing is, I was going to say this. This is where it's relevant. Going to certain football stadiums and certain bogey teams is always something, right? And I look at, what's it called? Liverpool. I said they would win 2-1, but that's with 11 men. With 10 men, my thing completely changed. But I said Newcastle haven't beat them in about 8 years since 2015 December. And that's one of them things. That's why Newcastle didn't get too giddy. This is why, like, I don't know what it is about them, but some Geordies just don't like Scousers. I don't know what the beef is. Is there something in the past? I have no idea. But the way I look at it, right, is Liverpool, you got the ones that like the Gomez and the Matips and everything. They were beasts. They kept what we called one of the best incoming strikers of the generation to be one of the best kept him quiet. But you know, the front line is the front line, the industrial midfield. I'm not being funny. You can play counter-attacking football, but they pick passes on the counter-attack. McAllister playing 8 was wicked. So Bosley before the red card was gliding, and I thought we had a good game. Endo, I didn't really see much of because all you had to do was kind of defend-ish, and there was lots of counter-attacks, but that's not down to him. And
but Cass, when was that? When was that moment? When was that moment with Klopp and Jason Tindall?
After the 1-0, and I think it was after. Was it not near towards half-time potentially?
Right. Cool. Perfect. That's what I thought. This is the thing. Like, no matter what we can say about Klopp, and sometimes, like last season, I feel that Klopp took way too long to adapt and to change things and whatever. The one thing with Klopp and with Liverpool Football Club is they've got fight, right? The one thing you don't want to do is pick a fight with them. You piss them off. We saw it with Arsenal last season. Arsenal were controlling it. Xhaka had that moment. Was it Xhaka, I believe? And that's it. Yep. City had it last season as well, where Pep started. I think we had a decision go against us. Pep started trying to rile the fans. You don't do those type of things because that's where Jurgen Klopp has got fight in him, a lot of fight in him, yeah. And at halftime, whatever he said in that dressing room, that's what it was. It was, he was pissed off. And he managed to get the players pissed off. And they came out and they fucking, like you said, they had battle and they had belief, and they went to war and they won the war ultimately.
They deserve credit for it, man. They deserve credit, Liverpool, for turning that around. I never saw that coming at 1-0. But then Newcastle, it just didn't look right for me.
Newcastle,
and fair play to Nunez, by the way, because Nunez has got a lot of stick, in my opinion, and I actually like him. I don't think he's a flop. I don't think he's awful. His stats aren't bad at all, and he took his goals very well yesterday, man. So fair play to Liverpool for turning that round, man.
But even if you look at Nunez last season, this whole how much of a flop he was based on the fact that at the start of the season, I'm not going to say it was Liverpool fans, whether it be Liverpool fans, City fans, the media, whoever decided it was Haaland v Nunez, right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Based on that, you're putting Nunez up against a player that ultimately came into the league and broke pretty much every record he could, right? Now, is it fair to judge Nunez, a 23-year-old, against that? I don't think it is, because it was his first season in the Premier League, played from different countries, adapt more. Haaland's already actually lived in England before as well, to be fair to him. So it's probably a lot easier for him to adapt. So I don't think the comparison was ever fair anyway. But if we're looking at bad first seasons in the Premier League, I don't think Nunez's was that bad, right?
No, it wasn't that bad. It's just style. The thing is, you can get a load of goals, but it's your style and the way you conduct yourself a little bit, and you can be effective. But how effective is it really towards the team? Does the team play worse or does it play better? Let me do a couple of these. Craig Lee, thoughts on Anthony Gordon? Actually, that's one person I'll pick up is Anthony Gordon. He was wicked.
I
don't know why he
shouldn't have come off, man. Couldn't believe he come off.
Killed the whole thing.
Everton boy, it meant more to him.
Oh yeah, he was Everton boy, isn't he? Forgot all about that. Yeah, Anthony Gordon is proving me wrong at this moment of time. I believe.
Same.
Do you know what I want to say? I know now with hindsight, it's easy to say he shouldn't have come off, but Harvey Barnes is top player as well, and I think he probably thought fresh legs going at Trent. That sub's worked for him against Villa because it was the same. It's almost like that's going to be his go-to sub. Wilson, Barnes for Isak and Gordon, because that's what happened against Villa, and they combined. So I was thinking, to be fair to Eddie, he's probably thinking fresh legs. Harvey Barnes is just as good as Gordon, in my opinion, anyway. But I do agree in the sense that Gordon was tearing him a new one. And the thing is with Gordon as well, he's an irritating character. You know, as a fan, I look at him and I dislike him. You know what I mean? And I think it's a bit like that with players as well. You see how he was with Trent. He's fouled Trent when he gets his yellow card. He's that type of player. But I do think Eddie Howe's maybe getting a little bit harsh there because, you know, Harvey Barnes is good as well, man. So,
yeah, Michael Talks Football says, I would have happily taken 7 out of 9 points in the first 3 games, considering 2 tough away fixtures. Don't say Chelsea away was a tough fixture for you, mate. But Liverpool need to be more.
Yeah, it was, bro. It was.
With that Chelsea that's trying to form right now, I don't think it was.
I hear you, but I thought Chelsea looked quite good that game, to be fair.
It's 2 years ago, 3 years ago, would you take a point at the bridge all day long? last season Chelsea, yeah, that's a loss. Sorry,
but I think that the thing with that comment is, I hear it, right? It's they've got what is it, 6 points? Is it 6 points they've got? Yeah.
Newcastle.
No.
Chelsea,
Who's he support? He supports Liverpool, right? So Liverpool got 7 points. What he's saying is right, but I think what you've got to look at is the performances. And 7 points, if Liverpool go and get 2 more players before of good quality before the transfer window closes, he's spot on, right? You've got 7 points start the season. But if you don't, forget the 7 points. We're looking at your performances and we're looking at what that might mean across the whole season. So it's valid. The points are valid, but you still have to look at the performances and think that's now. I don't think Liverpool have got too many injuries, have they, at the moment? Thiago is probably out as usual. But
DVD's out
it's
3
more,
games now.
maybe 2, but it's more, what will this mean once you start having to play 2 games a week? And these defenders are having to be, you've got no rotation. And that's my worry. Them defensively, their best defense isn't looking great. What happens when you're having to bring other players in? That's the worry for me, not the point.
Van Dijk misses 1 game, right? Because it was just a professional foul. There's only 1, right?
Oh, is it? Right. Okay, my bad.
Michael says Newcastle really needed a Maddison in midfield. You know what? You deep it. I think they do. They do miss that spark. Because other than Isaac, not really anything great going forward. Let's be honest. Other than and Wilson, if they're not on the pitch together, it just depends. But they'll be all right, man. They'll come back. And they'll go.
Isaac played through the middle as well, right?
Yeah. Other than Liverpool, like with all of it, one thing I will say to them that I clocked from Liverpool only last year is, obviously the great finishes from Darwin Núñez, and he suits a game like this. This is where he should be used on counter-attacks and stuff like that. He's vital in that part, right? Because he's fast.
Yeah.
Is that they will go and beat the bigger teams as they do and give them a challenge. But when it comes to the smaller sides, they'll go and draw at Anfield like 1-1 or 0-0, maybe even 2-2. And or the rival, them smaller clubs or lesser clubs, you could say, that are not as good, will go give them a game. You know what I mean? And make them work for their money. That's the only thing I'd say about Liverpool is when they got Aston Villa next week. Let's see how they play against Liverpool. Newcastle slapped them 5-1. Aston Villa meant to be one of the better teams in the league.
You're right, bro. That is the game. That's the game that tells us a lot about Liverpool as well. The one thing I will say again, although I do hate Liverpool factually, yeah, I do also back that they're a team that if they get confidence and start going on a run, it can all be completely different. And it's how they perform against Villa, because Núñez scored 2 goals. Will his confidence be up as a team? Like Trent ended the game buzzing, so Trent's confidence will probably be up. Liverpool are a confidence team, so I think it's how they go the next couple of games. I mean, they've only got 1 in the international break, but I think we can judge them more on that as well. So
yeah, make sure you also hit the like button, people, as well. It's very important for the channel. Also, make sure you go check out Joe's channel, Leeds United based. But if you want to check out Dan, it's not just Arsenal; it's all sorts. He's got a good panelists all the time every week. He'll be going live soon as well.
Check it out by staying here at the end, and it will go straight over to
Pops' channel. 100%. So if you ain't like the video, we're not on 400 likes. Get this to 400 likes if you don't mind. But yeah, to carry on with the Liverpool thing, I think the one part is please don't be Arsenal fans. Don't get carried away. Like we've already seen shouts that you're gonna go and win the league now. Come on, man. Like even I wouldn't do that. If I went to go beat Newcastle, even I wouldn't do that. And I'm shameless.
If you want to do that, just use the one that Cam's used last year, 1 game at a time. Just say that, right? If you think you will, just use the 1 game at a time thing. It'll take you away from it. So I'm even.
So 14 games unbeaten for them. Can they continue to go unbeaten for how long?
We'll see against Villa.
That's the fixtures. Yeah, Villa's. Is it at home though? I think they'll do them at home essentially.
Yeah, it is at home. I'm pretty certain it will be.
Yeah.
That was my team. We would get. That's the thing. If this was my team, we'd get rolled over. If we went 10 men, we would 100% got rolled over about 5-0. That's the difference. Some of these players with Liverpool, they just got that desire.
It's Klopp as well. It's the fight, bro. Klopp. That's the one that Klopp has got fight in him. It's no coincidence. It's half time. Whatever Klopp said at half time, he was pissed off, and it didn't work. This whole winding Klopp up thing. It's not a good thing to do because then Liverpool are different beasts when they get wound up.
I'm so triggered, man. I'm not even dissing your club, man. You lot are so sensitive.
Well, we've been quite positive on him, I think. You go back and watch last night if you want to see negative. Jesus.
Yeah, man. It's just, as I say, just don't get too carried away. Think you're going to go win the league now. Anyways, moving on. We're going to move on to Arsenal. Arsenal 2-2 Fulham. Saw some fan cams, Dan. Watched some specific ones. You know, I've always got one in the bank. I love it. Daps has already seen it, so I'm gonna watch.
You had to go at the manager. Wait a minute.
I see Party play right back at Nottingham Forest at the beginning of last season. It didn't work.
When you saw.
Can I just say, Lee Judges is a really, really, really nice guy, yeah? And really calm, cool, collected, yeah? Every time I've met him, he's a gentleman, right? So when I see that, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's my boy, man. They'll see a lot of Lee. And I was with him this weekend. I don't know what Arteta's doing, man. I ain't got a clue what this guy's doing now. And people are starting to say that he's trying to be Pep. Like, let's just forget that, man. He's not a Pep Guardiola. He's never been anything like this manager. Why do we try and compare this manager to Pep Guardiola? I don't get this.
You know why? Because look, let's be real, yeah. Will he have been influenced by some things Pep has done? Absolutely, right? Mm-hmm. Anyone that worked together, I'm influenced by anyone I work with, right? Has he been influenced? But is he come on, man, he's not trying to be Pep Guardiola. Of course, he's probably learned some things. That's why he went and was an assistant under Pep to learn things, yeah? But it's not like he's trying to be him. And look, well, that's just Twitter. We shouldn't even rise to that, to be honest.
Listen, my problem is, and has been for a while, pre-season and the first two games, I weren't really sure what we were doing. We looked really imbalanced. There was no consistent 11. And a lot of people put it down to new signings and injuries. And pre-season is pre-season. But I weren't convinced at home against Forest, and I wasn't convinced away at Palace. And everybody was telling me to shut up, sit on my hands, we're winning, just keep stum. The minute it goes to 2-2, those same fans now, oh, maybe this system ain't working. So don't tell me to shut up then, when I've got a point about this might not be working, yeah? Because when you don't get 3 points, then it ain't all right, is it? You can't sit there and talk about whether Partey's better than Rodri or Casemiro for the whole of last season and then decide to put him at right back. You can't sit there and tell me that the partnership of Gabriel and Saliba was not one of the best in the league last season and then break it up completely by leaving one of them on the bench. You can't sit there and tell me that the best right back in the league other than Trippier was Ben White, but nope, let's just go and put him back at centre back now and leave Partey there. Now all of a sudden, Saka and Martinelli haven't been too good last couple of games. Why do you think that is? It's not rocket science. Then we're forcing Kai Havertz into the team, who apparently has done really well now, because he's chested the ball and passed it a couple of times. I thought that this guy was coming in to provide goals and assists, not chesting it and holding it up. So I'm not happy. I don't like what I'm seeing. And I'm not afraid to say that I'm not happy that I don't like what I'm seeing. But unfortunately, anytime you criticize this manager, there's a section of the fan base that will come for you because he is a Pep Guardiola and look at what he's done already. I'm sorry, management should be able to be criticized just like players. Now, players, they deserve criticism at the weekend too, of course. But you can't criticize the manager for the way he set us up and the system. You can criticize Saka for having a poor game and giving away the goal. You can criticize Ramsdale for his starting position. You can criticize the poor defending from the corner. Of course you can. But the way that we're set up at the moment is all over the place and complicated. And what's frustrating is I don't think we're doing it because Zinchenko and Jesus are out anymore, which is what I said perhaps we were doing. Because I've now seen Zinchenko and Jesus coming back into the mix, and we still look like we're playing that system. So when we play Man United, if we play and revert back to Jesus and Zinchenko in a 4-3-3, I think we'll have them. If we go and play that system, we're not winning that game. We're going to draw or lose to Man United. So whatever Mikel wants to do, it's on him, man. I'm sorry, and I've been stum about Mikel all of last season because he proved everybody wrong that doubted him. I always had my doubts. I never thought he was perhaps that guy. I thought maybe he was the nearly there guy. And if he's going to start mucking around like this and overcomplicate systems again, Manchester City are going to wave us goodbye because they're going to be going mental ahead of us. Trust me, this is not going to work. This is against Fulham, Palace, and Forest, by the way. This isn't against Real Madrid, Bayern, and Man City. So we're convincingly winning those games. And now we finally dropped points and people are only starting to now question it. Come on, man. Not everybody could see Thomas Partey's not a right back. What's going on?
Do you know what, right? So the one thing that I've said probably in the last 2-3 weeks, and it's hard because often it's with Arsenal fans, not like yourself, it's with Arsenal fans that are deluded. And I'm actually still trying to slightly defend Arsenal, because I have to be consistent. And this time last year, and before anyone says, I'm not trying to say he's copying Pep, but this time last year, at the start of the season, I noticed Pep was trying different things out at the back, right? And I said at the time, do you know what? I understand why you would do it at this point of the season, because when it gets to the business end, you don't want to be tinkering at the back. You don't want to be playing 2 players for the first time all season at the back. You want them to have, and I do think there could be some truth to that. The only thing is, you've got Man United next week, right? I personally said before this weekend's games that I could see him going back to a back 4, bringing Gabriel in, by the way, because at the moment, I don't know what's going on there, but bringing Gabriel in, because him and Saliba, when 2 players first come back together, yes, they had an amazing partnership last season, but they're still ring rust because Saliba's got used to playing with other centre-backs now. So now he's going to have to get, and I thought this would be the week where you've gone back to playing like that. And it's mad surprising. I'm not going to even try and do any theories to why he's not there. I find it strange. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it all looked good with Timber. Since Timber's, it doesn't look as good without Timber. I'm going to be honest, that the way you're playing at the back without Timber is like, just go back to how you played last season, because with Timber, it was working. I get it. Without Timber, this is not working. You have to revert back.
And the thing is, Daps, you say that about Timber. Timber's now out for 7 to 9 months. So forget him for this season, right? So what do? We've got Kivior playing there now, who's a left centre-back, who's played left-back, looked poor, didn't win a header, poor defensively, nothing going forward whatsoever. Then we have Tierney. Oh, he's now gone. So we've got Timber now who's injured, and we've sold Kieran Tierney. So now we're shorter in the defence than last year. And we've got midfield 1 for 1, like for like. Rice in, Xhaka out. We haven't even improved our team, and we've spent £235 million.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Look, to be fair to that, Timber, you couldn't call. So
no, absolutely.
This is the conversation I had with Igal when Igal was trying to say Arsenal was strength for more. I said, look, I don't want to bring up an injury like it's a positive, but if we're talking about strengthening, yes, you had, but now he's got injured. Same way you're putting De Bruyne is not here for City at the moment. That's for 4 months. Timber's not there for the rest of the season. So also another thing I will say as well, when Zinchenko came back from injury last season, it took him a while to get his form, right? So potentially you're looking for Zinchenko to come back in and get his form against Man United. I think that's dangerous. I'm not saying it won't happen, but it's dangerous. I don't know why he's doing these things. Like, it just seems a bit.
What are you thinking, Joe, man, about the whole Arsenal situation? Because I've been talking like their gals and Martins and so forth that go back and forth with on the Twitter chat all the time, saying the system hasn't changed at all, nothing's been tinkered. Then you got other fans saying the system has changed. Even if you bring in a Zinchenko and a Gabriel, I'm looking at it right now. In 3 games, Zinchenko's had 35 minutes of men's football at this moment, so he's not sharp. And you look at Gabriel, he also hasn't had a lot of game time, and to bring them straight in could be a double-edged sword in a way. The fact that he's persisted goes to show how much Arteta truly does rotate the team. And right now, I don't know if he's going to change it just yet. If he's going to change it, I think he changes it during the international break.
I didn't catch the game because obviously it was 3 p.m. same time Leeds played. But I think for me, on the face of it, and listen, I'm not a like mad tactician, I'm not a manager or like that, but you got rid of Xhaka, you brought in Rice, just switch them. Like, I don't understand why you're having to now mess up the whole system.
Thank you, Joe.
When all you had to do
what we were all saying as well.
I know, right? We had Xhaka. We've now got Rice, who, if we're being honest, on paper is levels above Xhaka. Just played the same way, but Xhaka gone and Rice in there. It just seems a bit mad. We were talking about before, weren't we? Potson was saying maybe he's using Partey on the right so he can invert because Zinchenko's not there, so that's why he's doing it on that side. I don't know. It just seems to me, and this used to get labelled at Pep, right? He's overcomplicating it. Don't play. So for me, you've increased you haven't increased the ceiling of the squad. You've increased the floor of the squad. So your options on the bench are much stronger than what they were in previous seasons. Yeah, like your holdings, etc. So if Havertz isn't playing well or isn't doing what's required, just use him to come on for Odegaard when Odegaard needs. I don't understand why he's got to try fit everybody in like playing 4D chess. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing that I've said through pre-season, that look, with Havertz and Mount, I've said for both of them, I'm not going to rule either out, right? Mount, I actually think, has had a good period at Chelsea. Not all of it, but some of it was good. I'm not quite sure how he fits in at Man United. Havertz, I've heard enough off of other people, and do you know what? Because I don't watch enough and how bad Chelsea have been, I'm not gonna judge him. But for me, both of them are not better than the teams they're going to. And now Arsenal fans will go, I'm hating on Havertz. Or no, Arsenal fans will say, I'm hating on Arsenal. If I say Arsenal are better than I believe Havertz is, that doesn't mean I'm hating on Arsenal. That means I don't think Havertz is good enough for Arsenal. However, both off the bench, I agree. There's no issue. I don't really get what he's doing. The only thing I could say again is Arsenal will face, like last season, they hit everyone by shock. No one knew how they were going to play. Now they know they're going to face a lot of low blocks. So maybe he's trying to find different ways to work, different ways to overload the midfield and whatever else. And maybe he's trying to do that. But I just think it's a risky game where you've had injuries, Timber, and you keep going with what doesn't really seem to be working. It's fine, it's the start of the season, but do Arsenal have the bottle at the back end of the season to make up those points? That's the other worry. Because the thing is, yes, I'll be honest and have blind belief in my manager and my team. We've got the credit in the bank that we know we can tinker at the start because at the back end, we can make up the points, usually. With Arsenal, it's, can they do that? Because they haven't done that so far. The other thing is, could we say this season that so far the pressure is on Arsenal more than it was last season? And maybe are the players ready for that pressure as well? And maybe that's on the players, not on Arteta.
I mean, listen, that's a good point because the pressure is on Arsenal. The pressure is on Mikel Arteta because he's spent a lot of money and he's got to win something. You can't not win anything this year. And I think there's pressure on him for sure. But the thing is that people said Arsenal won't be in a title race this season because they've got the Champions League. But we're seeing already the fact that, like, I don't think we're out of a title race because we drew the Fulham. Don't get me wrong, right? But at the moment, the system that we're playing doesn't look convincing enough to scare anybody. And I think everybody at the moment would fancy coming to Arsenal, looking at their last three results: 2-2 with Fulham, 1-0 with Palace, 2-1 with Forest. I'll go and play Arsenal. That sounds lovely.
Is it? By the way, where is next weekend?
Emirates.
So 2 at home on the bounce. Oh, Cass, how do you feel about going there at the moment?
If they want to play that, please, by all means, I'm having Eriksen have up against Havertz all day long. I don't mind that. And the fact, you know what it is for me, yeah, what makes Saka so successful last year is that he had Ben White on the overlap. He ain't got no one overlapping at the moment. I'm seeing Ødegaard getting dragged out that side, and I'm thinking, why is he doing that? Ødegaard should be in the middle ways. He's just a boss, and he ain't been the greatest. Before I saw, like, even if Zinchenko wants to invert and use it that way, why are you accommodating Rice? Come on, like, let's have a proper conversation. Who's the best DM at your club, and who's the best all-round in midfield at your club? It's Thomas Partey, so he should be in the middle where it counts, right?
Facts.
If anyone's going to do any sort of job, it's going to be Declan Rice on the right to maybe invert. But I like Rice when he drives.
I don't see Rodri or Casemiro going at right back. I don't even see Basuma going at right back. What is this about?
Do you know the best way of looking at it is? The best way of looking at it is Manchester City and Liverpool, right? In the season. So Liverpool, the season that Van Dijk got injured, and Manchester City, the season that I think it was Vinny or Laporte. No, the season Laporte got injured, right? And both clubs had to play Fabinho so one season it was Liverpool had to play Fabinho in the centre-back role, and the other season City had to play Fernandinho in the centre-back role. Now, to be fair to both of them did a job as a centre-back. That's not the issue. The issue is you have taken two extremely good DMs out of for me, the most important position on the pitch, and then you replace them with someone that's not as good at doing that. And that's ultimately what Arsenal are doing. You've taken Partey from where he is so important and so good and put him in a position he's not influential and put him in a different position. So then you're playing someone in the 6th role that just quite simply isn't as good as Partey in the 6th role. And then also you're playing someone in the 8th role that isn't as good as Rice in the 8th role. And it's like, why? Why are you doing this? What are you...
See, the thing is, I'm going to ask you, Daps, and I'll even ask you, Joe, if you support, of course, you don't support a thingy team, but a midfield of Ødegaard, you already know my thoughts on Rice.
Rice Partey's cold.
No. Ødegaard, Rice and Havertz doesn't shake me to my core. Because the way I listen to an Ødegaard, Partey, and a Rice, I'm thinking, damn, like they've got some great balance there. It doesn't shake me. And this is Man United. My midfield's the worst, by the way.
And do you know what's happening is
that doesn't scare me. On a counter-attack, You feel I'm scared of a Havertz, bro? Like I know my team's gonna sit deep, and I'm gonna take in any pressure from a Rice creativity or Havertz creativity, and that's why I'm getting a little bit more confidence. Am I gonna win? I don't think we win at the Emirates. I respect the Emirates a little bit more than I used to, and I think I think we can get a result here. But that doesn't shake me. And the way Martinelli's playing, I couldn't give a crap what whoever plays against.
Bro, do you know the other thing as well? Yeah, is what Arsenal fans are doing at the moment is so Rice is playing in the 6 role, right? So
yeah, he's actually been all right there.
But yes, he has been. He has been good. He has been good, and that's what everyone is kind of using is that. Yeah, but Rice is cooking in the 6 role. Agreed. I don't disagree. Yeah, Rice for me, everyone knows it. I think he's a cold player, but Rice is cooking in the 6 role. Havertz is not cooking in the 8 role, right? If Partey comes into the 6 role, Rice will move into the 8 role and still cook, right? But then you've got someone cooking in the 6 role. So everyone's using this, yeah, but Rice is doing well in the DM role. Agreed. I'm not saying he isn't, but you've got a problem. And the problem, whether people say it's an agenda or not, the problem is Havertz, yeah? Even because if Partey, ultimately, Havertz out, Rice moves into that role, cooks. Partey moves into the Partey role, cooks. Ben White comes back in, plays right back and cooks. All these positions are being impacted by the importance of bringing Havertz into the team, and it just for me, it's not working.
This game's got written. This game's got draw written all over it, and this time they come in with a Casemiro that's a bit more fit because last season out, Emirates, he wasn't at the Emirates. It was a Scott McTominay, Ericsson, and we're still in the game somehow. And we're coming with an actual striker, not a Weghorst or a Rashford filling in. Like at least Marcel's a little bit fit, unless he breaks down within the week, which is more than likely going to happen.
Do you know what, Kaz? You mentioned Weghorst. That is a really good. Just quickly the Weghorst thing, right? Do you remember when United, we were always like gassing up United? United were gassing. Oh, Weghorst in the 10, it's class. He's chesting the ball a bit. He's laying it off a bit. That's what Arsenal fans are now doing with Havertz. They're now starting to gas this guy up because he's chested the ball. Yet when Lacazette and Giroud were doing that, they were saying we need to upgrade on them two.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Them two actually scored goals, serious goals for Arsenal as well.
I'm going to move on from Arsenal because we could talk on Arsenal all day. And
Go on, man.
See these comments like here, Gunner King. I like your opinion sometimes, but this is what I mean. Allow it about settling him into. We're talking about Arsenal Football Club, bro. Settling him in.
No time.
You have to hold his dick while he pisses as well. Like, come on, man.
Gunner, but the thing is, I hear what he's saying. Yeah, there is an element of settling in. But Gunner King, you're the same person that's going to tell me this season you're going to challenge, right? Listen, if you want to go head to head with us, right? You don't have time to settle players in, bro.
Agreed,
like
man.
You can't be stuck. Because the thing is,
I'm big up
like
Gunner
I
King.
just
I
said,
like his opinion as well. But yeah,
bro, he's my guy. But you can't. It's sometimes he can be blind with it. And look, you know what? You've got to back your team. If you want to back your manager, I respect it. But what I am saying is, we can do that because, and even if City drop points, it's all City are dropping points. Could they not be as good as last season? We hear it all the time, right? But the truth is, I'll say, yeah, but we know business end what will happen the minute we go on a run. Arsenal don't have that credit in the bank to think they can start off slowly because at the back end of the season, Kaz brought up the other end. I look at who's playing who where at the end of the season, right? Our first game is at the Emirates, yeah? Which means back end of the season, you have to come to the Etihad, right? Do you think you're picking up any points at the Etihad? And I told you the same last year. You ain't picking up no points at the Etihad. So those little things of teams you have to go to at the back end of the season where you think you're going to make up the point difference from points you're losing now won't happen. You're not. This season, Arsenal, I'm taking seriously. But if you're dropping points at home to Fulham, that's quickly going to drift away from me. And I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah, man. Tony Bloom, he says, problem is Arsenal fans have no balance. I see both sides. Last season, at times, they complained being too predictable, no plan. Now system shouldn't change.
Crazy.
I don't think it was about being too
No one asked for the system to be changed.
I think too predictable is fair. And I think that Arteta was a little bit naive, especially when you come to Old Trafford and all this kind of stuff, and some places there. And that's fair game because he's still learning there. And I think he got that credit there to try it after the start you did have. But it was just about when Saliba's out, you have a Rob Holding. When Partey was out, you had a Jorginho or El Nene. You know, when Ben White was out, you had to fill him with Tommy Asu. It's all about a personal upgrade rather than a system change. That's just my bit. But you know what? You still got 7 points, and I'll say it's about my team too. And we'll talk about Man United now. My team has somehow got 6 points still in this lead. And last time out, we had 3 points, and that was the first against Liverpool. You still got 7 points. It's not the end of the world, and things will get better eventually because Arsenal, Martinelli's going to get better at some point. Saka will get better. He's still getting goals and assists. You know, Havertz might not get choice, but things will just settle into its place when it needs to. And the outrage for GW3. All I'm going to say is I can't wait. If you lose it, I can't wait for FTV.
Well, one question for Dan. Dan, I personally think the fact that you loaned out Tierney after the Timber injury, yeah, because I personally felt you would go into the market one more time, even the minute Timber got injured. And I think rightly so, by the way, because he's out for the season. You should do. Now with loaning Tierney out, I think even more so, you're going to go in the market at least one more time. Do you think so, or have you seen anything?
Not just in that position, man. We need more than one position, but I don't know, man. We need to. Will we? Let's wait.
Any names? Any names?
Simakan's the one I'm hearing from Leipzig, right centre back and right back, and Fresneda as well, but he's just a right back. But
he's on the
let's see, man. There we go. So it won't be him. So Simakan is looking like the one that we're linked with.
Left back cover. Is Tomiyasu left back cover? Then
Tomiyasu's right and left back cover. Yeah. The problem is in January, if Saliba goes down, there's no Tomiyasu, Asian Cup and African Cup. So we've got Thomas Partey and Tomiyasu both out the whole of January, and no one's mentioned it once.
And is Timber definitely out for the whole? Sorry,
Timber's done, man. Yeah, most of the season. Yeah.
So Timber's out. Who were the two that you said will be out in January?
Tomiyasu and Thomas Partey.
Right. Okay. Got you.
Why is Thomas Partey going to be out? Because African Cup of Nations.
African Cup of Nations.
I think they only missed a couple games, though. I believe.
It depends how
far they get. Yeah.
I think it's cup games as well, predominantly as well.
I can't let you decent outfit this time around. So, but they're not the best. I don't think. Liverpool till I die says looks like the fans can't take the pressure. Game week 3, lads. But yeah, man. I mean, look, this is what we do every season. Overreaction, whatever, content, entertainment.
100%, bro. 100%.
It's all there, man. And this is what we missed all summer, right? Is this,
bro? I was having a conversation with Terry from Football Service earlier, yeah, because he was. I brought something to his attention. I'm not going to bring it up on this show, and he was like, "So, what do you think we should do?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just." Terry, on your shows, you always go on about how tribalism should never be kicked out of the game. So I'm just being tribal, right? And that's what we do. This is. We missed it in the summer. Cass was acting like a really nice person about everyone else's team. Now, tribalism is back, and we're going to talk on it. And you're watching it. Are you not entertained?
Yeah. We're 63 likes away from the minimum mark of 400. Just a friendly reminder to you guys, if you don't mind pushing those likes. If you haven't done so, just double check, exit your live chats. It takes you 2 seconds, and we'll be right here. I'm going to go for about another 10 minutes, 13 minutes. Now, Man United. See, if you did watch the game, I want you to be honest. And I don't mind the criticism, because I will criticize the crap out of this, but I will big up my performance for coming back. But it is against Nottingham Forest at the end of the day. You know, is there more issues than you? Did anyone actually get to watch the game properly?
I'll be honest, Cass. I was cooking United on the train up to Manchester. I was cooking United. I didn't watch the game at all. All I quite simply saw is you went 2 goals down to Nottingham Forest in 8 minutes, and that deserved the cooking. And that's where it stops. Yeah. So they went down 2-0 from both set pieces, one on the one end and one on the other. But in the end, Man United could have won about 5-2, 6-2, maybe 6-3. I'll give them that respect. I think Ollie hit a nice shot, Onana with a nice save as well. Got top bins. Is anyone thinking this Man United team's got a long way to go yet, or do you think this is that might be
long way, man? Season? Long way to go. Long way to go. I didn't see the game. It's like say it was at 3 o'clock and my team were on. So I was doing that, but especially when you consider the performances you've had up to this point, Cass, and then you're going into Nottingham Forest at home. I kept faith with my Man United players in my fantasy team. I was thinking, Man United at home against Forest, it's going to happen. I had
a shit fantasy this week.
Man.
I need to check mine now, actually.
Mate, I benched Destiny Udogie for Joao Pedro, man. 12 points.
Listen, if anyone put cash in, and if anyone triple capped him, then you're only you are. If you triple capped him, you're Paqueta, basically.
I had Man City players in defensively. I thought, they'll keep a clean sheet against Sheffield United. No, it's just like this is a shambles of a week.
Mate, I went bold. I went bold and captained Jackson. I was absolutely buzzing when Haaland missed that penalty, man. I'm telling you, I was like, get in there. But no, there's a long way to go, Cass. I think it's going to be very tight outside of the top spot with all the teams. Really, I think City. I know it's mad, but. They're going to win. They're going to win the league, aren't they? But I think the rest of the spots are up for grabs. But there's a long way to go for you yet, because you should not be conceding 2 goals at home to Nottingham Forest and having to come back, because it's not sustainable, is it?
Nah, my issue was the concentration. I look at moments in each game now. Anana at the end with the Wolves, that should have been a penalty. Lack of concentration just to get over the line. I look at Spurs game, Luke Shaw being passive, a lack of concentration in the game, later in the game, don't get me wrong. And even Ben Davies, that they both, him and Kulusevski, had so much freedom to run into that box. And you're like, what are you doing? Lack of concentration. The volley goal, corner's a corner. He's massive. He's 6'5". It is what it is. Command it a little bit better. You should be doing better. You're at home. And the other part is obviously the first goal. Wan-Bissaka went to challenge Owini or whoever for the ball, and he's a massive guy. Who was covering Wan-Bissaka as the last man? No one. Rashford had to track back. Bit of a pussy in that area. Should have just taken him out, because Dalot was right there and Wan-Bissaka was right there. You'd have been all right. Take the yellow card, drag his shirt, don't matter. Just take him out. So didn't do that, and that's the lack of goal in my opinion. But I've got to say the midfield performance for me was what I was looking at, and I liked it a lot.
Who in particular?
All of them. I'm not joking. All of them. Every single one of them. All of them.
Are you appreciating more of Eriksen now because you saw Mount in it, that now you're thinking, actually, do you know what? Eriksen's doing a better job than Mount.
Eriksen was switching the ball left and right, winning the ball back. The press was very good. They didn't get a sniff from all of the game after that. And that's what I have to say. If you didn't watch the game, you can judge the result, but you have to judge the performance after that. And that's what I liked. Creating chances, Casemiro missing from 2 yards out. You know, Martial should have just hit it first time. Things like that. Like, there was chances, but again, how many goal scorers do you have in your club to make the difference when it's a better team is my question. But the way I look at it, it wasn't the midfield issue. It was no issue. Last issue was just a lack of concentration more than anything. Eriksen's great at home, but away from home, he'll get eaten alive if he doesn't have, if the opposition has got any bit of athleticism about them.
I was going to say that. His football IQ is better than Mount's, but his legs aren't better than Mount's.
Casemiro dived in a couple times, but Erik ten Hag was shouting the shit out of him and to keep on staying on his feet, and he did so, and he had a great game. He kept winning the ball back. Owini couldn't handle Varane after that, you know, just dominating him. And then Bruno Fernandes was just doing Bruno Fernandes things. The only issue is how many times you're going to get that Bruno Fernandes in a season, because against small teams, great, you know, do Lukaku, right? Go get your stats and everything. But when it comes to the bigger games, I need to see more. Can you prove it in the bigger games? So, and I look at the front line. Anthony, I can't lie, best game in the United shirt for me. Best game. He was mixing it up. He was creating. Could have done a little bit better, but they all could have. Martial, 60 minutes in the bag. It goes. There's a difference when you got to vote like a focal point up front just to tick the ball and keep it moving. And then Rashford, other than his assist, he was actually the worst guy on the pitch for me. The worst guy.
I'm not capping. He's coming out, and I'm not captaining him. No,
yeah, he was the worst guy for me. But against the low, again, imagine Arsenal and the Emirates. Is he going to go get a goal? Probably. More than likely. Is Ramsdale staying in goal? Hopefully. But yeah, that's the way I look at Man United. But if they don't, you know, get that together, we're gonna hold some smoke this season, and it's not gonna be pretty. And that's the honest part about it. But I'm happy with the performance to come back.
The thing is, Kaz, when people say, "Do you think Man United have got a long way to go?" For what? For top 4? For winning a title? What a long way to go towards what? Because for me, they're in the mix for top 4, 100%.
No,
I don't think they're going to win a title.
I feel like with Arsenal, you can instantly say, regardless of how crap Arsenal might get, they're probably nailed on to be a top 4 team or top 3 team.
I think they're nailed on to challenge, to be frank with you.
Yeah, of course, and that's what I'm saying. Man United nailed on to be that, you know, team that's going to be in and around. No, they're not. There's still that's the facts. And if you don't get this window right within the last 4 nights, you're pissed. You're going to be pissed for the season. You're Champions League football. Are you going to go far in it? And if you do, you're gonna wind up being crap in the league. Which one?
But I think I could test your theory of what you just said there when you were saying that about, like, if you look at Wolves so far, yeah, you didn't play well, but you won the game. You look at the game against Forest, you won the game. Who else? And then your other game was
Tottenham, and we lost
Tottenham. All right, yeah, you lost that. But all right, that's actually quite a good test of the theory. Tottenham, who are a better team, you lost, right? Now, next weekend, you're going to the Emirates. Arsenal maybe slightly not in good form. Here's the test of your theory. Can you be a Man United that can go and take advantage of that? Or ultimately, are you exactly what you said, that Man United, you come up against a big team and your midfield goes quiet, your midfield, and this is something Vincent Kompany said years ago, right? That, in fact, he said it on Rio's podcast, whenever Man City play Man United nowadays. They just look at the midfield and know we're going to win the battle. We never really look at Man United. And I think Arsenal need to look at Man United and think, we're going to win this midfield battle. Like, ultimately, yeah, our defense is not moving great at the moment, but can Arsenal's midfield win that midfield battle against Man United? I think they can with ease, right? Mm. And then I think Arsenal win it. But if Man United rise to that, it's then what happens when Højlund comes in. And I think you're right. If you get Amrabat, that could be a game changer for me as well.
Oh, he'll be registered. He should be registered if you get him on time. It's because we're playing on Sunday at 4:30. But who knows? Even Lewis Hall isn't registered yet, which is kind of confusing. Even though he's in the country, that's why he didn't play. I'm very confused by that part. I think they could have done with someone like Lewis Hall yesterday, not a flipping Matt Target. Garbage, mate. Tuchel says LFC fans have to deal with FSG. Klopp can never demand a squad of youth and experience. You have a great 11, but no backup to rotate and rest. Could have pushed City more if FSG would just buy 1 or 2 star players at DM and centre back. I totally agree. But it's the right players. And then Whiskey Deck is saying, lads, Liverpool are back with laughing faces.
He's laughing faces. So look, no one disagrees. I think that's the one thing we'd all agree on. Look, Liverpool over the last few years could have done more, could have challenged City a lot more if FSG backed them. We go back to 2021 when it was January. Liverpool were top, I think, and Van Dijk was injured and Liverpool went out and bought 2 centre-backs that none of us even knew the names of, right? That sums up FSG, right? So I agree with you. I'm not here knocking Liverpool's best 11, knocking Klopp, but I'm saying FSG is a poison in your club that is going to end up poisoning your club just as bad, if not more, than Glazers have done to Man United.
Yeah, wait, Lewis always registered. No, apparently he wasn't. That's why
he wasn't. He wasn't.
But you're a Toon fan, and to be fair, couldn't care less. Man City game for the last 5 minutes. Yesterday, oh my word, Rodri. We spoke on it obviously yesterday night. This is the difference, right? They're not even playing that well as well, and you have to give them the same energy for Arsenal. But the difference is the know-how.
Yeah.
And the difference is the composure. Yeah. And even when you're 1-1 and you're dying minutes, you just know there's going to be.
Do you know what Rodri said? Rodri for me, look, I said it last night, but I don't know if I said it on the show or before the show. I understand Rodri will not get mentioned in Ballon d'Or conversations because of the position he plays in. Yeah, Haaland will because he's broke records and scored goals. But for me, if Haaland doesn't start for City, I still believe we win most of our games. If Rodri doesn't, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Rodri is so important to this Manchester City team. Defensively, in midfield, tempo setting, and clutch with goals. Like, he's coming up. He won us the Champions League. He won us the game the other day. He started the whole goal scoring against Madrid. He comes up with clutch goals as well. He's calm. He's just unbelievable. And This is the thing. He said yesterday that he's not a fan of the way that we now play in with this extra 10 minutes. Said not a fan at all, because those last 10 minutes is when players are at their most tired, right? And you're asking players to now play an extra 10 minutes. And I understand it's not an extra 10 minutes, but ultimately it is to what they've been playing the last few seasons. And it's when players are at their most tired. He said, however, for us as a club, it's great for us because we have so much self-belief that we can go 1-0 down, or the game be brought back to 1-0 in the 90th minute. And we are now going, well, we know we've got another 10 minutes to score. We back ourselves that we put a bit of pressure on. We're going to score another. And he said, we knew we were going to get a second. And that's the thing. Was it a performance that I'm going to be spouting about at the end of the season? Absolutely not. But
yeah, but you might look at their results as like the key ones, you know, like Arsenal last year. Remember Leeds that game, they won it, they missed the penalty ban.
Yeah, 100%, where they weren't good. But bro, what it is
you look at them, like that's the game that's the difference. The last minute,
it's showing what we know about City. It's showing what we know about City. That ultimately, it's get things done. And when we were in Athens, me and Imran were having a conversation, and people keep saying, "Oh, you know." To challenge City, you have to get this many points. To win the league, you have to get this many points and do this and do that and do this and do that. No. To win the league, you have to get 1 goal more than, or a better goal assist than the person that gets equal points to you, or get 1 point more than them. Yeah. So this whole, you have to hit these points, targets, all of that is not true. You have to know how to win a league, which is by just doing enough, right? And that's what Pep Guardiola and Manchester City know how to do. And that is how we manage to challenge on all fronts. Whereas we could go and try and blitz and do invincibles and get 100 points and score 200 goals, but we won't be able to go in every competition. What Pep knows how to do is manage a season. Yeah, that's the key. And yesterday, that's all it is. We move on and we can talk about who was good, who was bad. Walker, worried.
You, mate, you absolutely battered them yesterday. Like, I watched it and I was like, how is this 2-1? And if it wasn't for a bit of comical defending from Sheffield United, maybe they could have actually got something out of it, because that geezer just needs to launch it into Rosette. I don't know what he's doing. I know Walker made an individual error as well, fair play, but Rodri, unreal. And is it fair to say that Rodri actually weren't favoured when he first come to City? Everyone was like, we want this guy, we want Fernandinho, we don't want him. And I was like, is he as good as Yaya Toure and Fernandinho? He is.
You know what it was,
man.
bro? It was
CDM in the world for me, not just the league. Unreal.
I was one of them. The first season Bernardo Silva came in, Rodri came in. The issue was that, and we saw it with that Saul who joined Chelsea from Atletico Madrid, right? But he never got a chance to redeem himself. Is that when you join the Premier League from some leagues, right? You think you've got more time, and playing that 6 role, sometimes you receive the ball in your own half, facing your own goal, and you think you've got all the time in the world to turn around, look up, pick a pass. And very quickly, Rodri realised, I don't have that time. And he adapted and changed that. And then from there, it's also first season, he didn't have Bernardo Silva's legs on the pitch. It was the other players round him, I feel. But yeah, you're spot on. I was one of them was saying, I need a strong second season. And luckily we got it. But yeah, he's unreal. He's a difference. And I don't think we learned much about City. It's just that's what it is. And we just see how we do in the transfer market just to get that bit stronger. And we just keep going.
Yeah. I thought we'd wrap up there as well. Since that was the Sunday games and so forth. But yeah, man, make sure you've we 402 likes. So big up to everyone that's done that. If you stay on this channel, please stay here because it goes over to Dan Potts' channel. There's 900 of you. Don't be lazy. He's going to talk about a bunch of new different things with a different panel. So stay on it. It'll go over there. Go smash a like there. Joe's and Potts' channels either in the pin or description. Depends how lazy you guys want to be because I know what you like. So there it is. Go subscribe to them. Go give them a watch. Just go help them out. I'm pretty sure they appreciate it. But big up to you guys for jumping on.
Thanks for having me, guys, as well this week.
Legend. Nice one.
That's guys. Thank you.
But yeah, man, we'll leave it there and see you 11 o'clock.